Pearls are the result of a biological process within living sea creatures like an oyster as it protects itself from foreign substances.
Wow! The oyster looks beautiful!
Indeed, an oyster has two shells. Inside the shells, there is an organ called mantle. Mantle covers and protects all the internal organs of the oyster. Whenever any foreign substance like a grain of sand or a parasite makes its way into the oyster and gets stuck in between the shell and mantle, the mantle's natural reaction is to cover that foreign substance to protect the oyster's internal organs. For this, the mantle secretes a mineral called nacre around the foreign substance in layers. Over time, layer upon layer of nacre leads to the formation of a pearl.
Hi, I'm Syafiq bin Suhaimi, metric number F21B1353.
Hi, my name is Muhammad Amin IKRAM bin ROSLAM. My number metric is F21B1374.
Hi, my name is binti BAZLI and my metric number F21B1325.
Hi, my name is NORHAFIZA IDAYU. My metric number F21A1323.
Hi, my name is NORHAFIZA binti YAHAYA. My metric number F21B1327.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. We are from Group 7. So today we're gonna present it about oyster. First of all, I will explain about special characteristic of oyster. Oyster is bivalve mollusks that live in marine. In some species, the valves are highly classified and many of somewhat irregular in shape. Many but not all oysters are in the superfamily Oysteria.
Hi, in this video, we will talk about oyster. The term oyster refers to a group of saltwater bivalve mollusks that live in a marine or brackish environment. Certain species bivalves are severely calcified and many of them have unusual shape. Many oysters belong to the superfamily Oysteria, but not all. The kingdom of oyster is Animalia, the phylum of oyster is Mollusca, the class of oyster is Bivalvia, the order of oyster is Trioida, the family of oyster is Pridae, the genus of oyster is Pintada. Oyster also used in industry. Oysters are commonly consumed cooked or raw, and they are considered a delicacy in some areas. The pearl produced within the metal of some pearl oyster varieties is removed. Windowpane oysters have translucent shells that are collected and used to produce a range of beauty products.
First is shells. Oyster shells are usually oval or pear-shaped, but will vary widely in form depending on what they attach to. They are generally whitish grey in outer shell color and their inside shell is usually a porcelain white. They have extremely strong adductor muscle to close their shell when threatened. Second, behavior. Oysters feed by extracting algae and other food particles from the water. They are almost constantly drawing over their gills. They produce when the water warms by broadcast spawning and will change gender once or more during their lifetime. Third, threat to survival. Commercial harvesting of oyster is regulated throughout most of their range, and they are not currently listed as threatened or endangered. However, they are extremely sensitive to water quality and susceptible to coastal pollution, and population in many areas where they are once abundant have dwindled or disappeared. They can also retain toxins in their flesh, making them unhealthy for human consumption.
Animal adaptations are behavior or physical traits that improve an animal's chance of survival with their own environments. Same goes to oyster. They also have their own survival adaptation, which is they have a strong muscular foot to prevent them being washed off from the rock. A tough outer shells help to protect from predator. The shells is waterproof, which also help to prevent water loss during a low tide or when they are exposed. These smallest animals have a mantle, which is a layer of folded skin that protect its internal organs. Oysters can seal off their shells during a low tide to trap in water and prevent them from drying out. Last but not least, Oysters have therefore developed a wide variety of genes and protein to help them to deal not only with the change of temperature or difference in the salinity of water, but also they're able to deal with exposure to oxygen and heavy metal. These are factors that can kill most animals, but not oyster.
I want to talk about the oyster life cycle. An oyster spends almost its entire lifestyle in a single spot. It opens its cell only to filter food from the water. This is its only movement except during the first 3 weeks of life. At this time, newly hatched oysters, known as larvae, are very small and can swim freely in the water column. As they grow and gain new abilities, the larvae pass through specific stages of the life cycle. Once an oyster egg is fertilized and its cells begin to divide, it is called an embryo. This is the first stage of the oyster life cycle. In the threshold stage, hair-like structure called cilia develop, allowing it to move through the water column. Next, during the dehisced villager stage, two cells and the willium and organ for movement and eating for develop. In the villager stage, a hitch between the two cells, known as the embryo, develops from the straight side of the dehisced. Villagers continue to use their willium to swim freely in the water column. After about 1 per 2 weeks, the free-swimming larval oyster develops a foot and prepares to permanently attach itself to a hard surface, usually an old oyster cell. This is called the pedivilager stage of its life cycle. Once the pedivilager is permanently attached, it is known as a spade. From this permanent spot, the baby spade-filter algae form. The water grows quickly. After a couple of months, the spade grows to about the size of a quarter and reach the juvenile stage. During the juvenile stage, the oyster continues to grow and remain in this stage until it reaches adulthood. In the adult stage, the oyster is able to reproduce and the life cycle continues in the next generation. Interestingly, most oysters begin adulthood as male and become females later in life. Some can even change their gender from 1 year to the next.
Oysters are marine life in the kingdom of Animalia. Oyster is a phylum of mollusca, classified in the category of bivalvia. Pteridae are a family for this life. Oyster has economic importance, and I will explain about two importance. First, I will explain about importance to cultivators. Oyster is used for meat, shells, and mostly pearls. The world trade of culture pearls is reported to be over 3 billion US per year. India is one of the major importers of pearls. They are importing pearls worth US 4 million every year. China is the world's largest producer of freshwater pearls. They are producing more than 1,500 metric tons per year. Second, important in oyster economic is importance to business, such as provided oyster to restaurant, provided pearls for jewelry business, and provided oyster shells which can be used as ornamentals. In conclusion, oysters are marine life that is very important in improving the country's economy. Oysters are also seafood that's in high demand, especially in the production of food processing. In the restaurant, they produce oyster as the main ingredient in our cuisine. Oyster also can be processed such as meat sauce, processed oyster and others. Oyster also very nutritious and tasty seafood. Last but not least, we need to protect our marine life so that can be used for future generations. That's the end of our presentations from my groups. Thank you.